Just got finished watching this. The gloves are off. Dillian Whyte versus Joseph Parker. It was what you expect, really, from these two characters. Dillian Whyte is very animated. He was going straight for the jugular against Joseph Parker. Right off the bat, he called him a coward for the way he fought against Anthony Joshua. He said it don't matter if Joseph Parker is the quicker man because timing beats speed. And Johnny Nelson a few times said to Dillian Whyte, well, you're trying to goad him. You're trying to draw Joseph Parker into a fight. You don't want him to run. And Dillian Whyte said, no, I ain't trying to do that. If he runs, I got my running shoes too. I'll run after him. Whatever way he wants to do it, I'll take care of business. Dillian Whyte is making out as though what he's doing in terms of what he's saying to Joseph Parker, it's not really calculated. He's just speaking the truth. That seems to be what Dillian Whyte was saying here. Joseph Parker, for the most part, he didn't really take the bait. He didn't get angry or anything like that. I think a couple times he got a little annoyed with Dillian Whyte pushing all his buttons. And you could see it in his eyes, actually. Joseph Parker was staring quite intensely at Dillian Whyte at times. He never really raised his voice or anything like that, but the steely stare was there, and you could tell that there is mean intention in his eyes. So it was a relatively lively gloves are off, and they usually are when well, they always are when Dillian Whyte is involved in a gloves are off. They're always worth a watch. They're always entertaining. You always have something to say about them. Let's just put it that way. Even if you're somebody who finds Dillian Whyte's trash talk annoying or classless or whatever the case may be, even if you think that, you're at least going to say something about the gloves are off. You're not going to sit there bored. And obviously, the gloves are off is a promotional thing. It don't really make any difference to what's going to happen in the ring. But for those of us who do enjoy watching this as a piece of entertainment, this was a fairly decent one. Sometimes, of course, you're looking for clues in the fighter's psychology as to where they're at mentally. You're looking at their body language and their demeanor. You're trying to see if there's any trepidation there, any fear. And I didn't see any fear in either man. I think both men are very confident. Both men truly believe they're going to win the fight. And so this was just entertainment for me. And definitely worth a watch. So if you haven't seen it already, Sky Sports have posted it today on their YouTube channel. So go have a watch. Go tell me what you think. How do you think both guys are going to approach this fight? Is Joseph Parker going to box? Is he going to brawl? He actually says he's going to do a little bit of everything here. And I think he'll need to. I think it would be a mistake tactically for Joseph Parker to just stand and trade with Dillian Whyte. Stand right in front of him, because that's to Dillian Whyte's advantage. I think if Joseph Parker moves, Dillian Whyte is going to have to reset all the time, and it will be more difficult for him to get powerful punches on. So a lot of this will depend on Joseph Parker's tactics. But again, as I've mentioned in previous videos, Parker in the back of his mind may be thinking about the Joshua fight and thinking, you know what? I can't box a negative fight again because the judges are not going to favor me in the UK against a British fighter. So I'm going to have to fight in this fight. I can't get away with back foot tactics. And again, that plays into Dillian Whyte's hands. And as I've said before, I've been back and forth about who I think is going to win this fight. But when I look at the Carlos Takam fight, and I know it was, a couple of years ago now. When I look at the Carlos Takam fight and I see how effective Takam was, and I don't think Takam won the fight, by the way. I personally think Joseph Parker won. But Takam certainly had plenty of success fighting in a particular style, which I think Dillian Whyte is better at, to be honest with you. But again, it depends on how much Joseph Parker moves. Parker didn't move that much in the Takam fight. There were maybe moments late on in the fight where he started to move more, but he was letting his hands go quite a lot against Takam, standing with him quite a lot. If you watch Parker against Kujanu or Parker against Joshua, he was moving a lot more. than he was against Takam. From memory, anyway. That's how I recalled it, or I recall it. So, yeah, I think Dillian Whyte can box a similar fight to Takam, but better. I think he's got a better jab than Takam. I think he's a better body puncher than Takam. Probably heavier handed than Takam too. I'm not saying who is a better fighter overall, Dillian Whyte or Takam. I'm just saying that styles make fights, and I think Dillian Whyte can fight that kind of style more effectively. But as I say, if Joseph Parker decides to move a lot more, then it could be a problem for Dillian, because I've said this previously, but when you look at Dillian Whyte's fight against Robert Helenius was moving all over the place. And that really threw Dillian Whyte's balance off. He didn't have his feet under him because the guy was moving constantly. He wasn't allowing Dillian Whyte to set his feet and punch with real authority. And I think that's one of the reasons Dillian Whyte wasn't able to get the stoppage in that fight, because Helenius was moving so much. I think it cuts down on Dillian Whyte's power a lot when he's got a guy moving around all over the place. You know, Dillian Whyte is a big guy. He weighs over 240 pounds. And for a guy who weighs that much to be able to track you while you're moving constantly and also retain the power, it's not easy. Some fighters can do it, obviously. But I did notice that Dillian Whyte, to my eyes, struggled to do that with Robert Helenius. So I think movement would have to be a key part of Joseph Parker's strategy if he's going to win this fight. I'm not saying he has to move the whole fight, but definitely in spots, maybe early on, get Dillian Whyte to get frustrated, start lunging in and then catching with something. And on Dillian Whyte's side, he's got to use his jab. He's got to go to the body when he can. He's got to keep it sensible. Don't throw anything wild, because occasionally Dillian Whyte can get wild. You don't want to do that with Joseph Parker, because Parker's got very quick hands and he's quick on the counter. Whyte needs to go to that body, jab to the body, but be careful. Jabbing to the body, don't catch counters. Jab to the head, and just force the fight. Just be the ring general in there. Dillian Whyte is a very strong character. Very determined character. And he has to make that count in the ring. So, yeah, going to be a fascinating fight. Not long to go now. And as I say, this episode of The Gloves Are Off is definitely worth a watch. I enjoyed it. It's always lively when Dillian Whyte is on the scene. He speaks from the heart and always gives his opinion, whether people agree or disagree or find what he says offensive. He don't censor himself. So, yeah, Joseph Parker acquitted himself well. It was quite funny, actually, some of the back and forth banter between the two. Dillian Whyte kept on bringing up Dave Higgins, and I do miss Dave Higgins. Where is he, by the way? Because he's a funny character. I think Joseph Parker, in his mind, as I say, his eyes were burning, you know, and in his mind, he's thinking, I'm going to get Dillian Whyte for the stuff he's saying to me here. That's what Parker was thinking, I'm sure. That's what it looked like he was thinking anyway. I'm going to get you. Don't you worry about that. And I'm going to enjoy stopping you. That's probably what Joseph Parker was thinking. That's my read of his body language, his demeanor, etc. And maybe that's him taking the bait. You know, even though he wasn't animated, even though he didn't shout or do anything aggressive, maybe mentally he's taking the bait that Dillian Whyte has set out for him. You know, goading him and poking and calling him a coward and all this kind of stuff. Let me know what you guys think of this anyway in the comment section. It's happening, I'm out.